When you're ready to ride Metro, we want you to know we're ready for you. Here are just a few of the people at Metro to tell you how we're doing our part to keep riders safe.
We're cleaning like never before with hospital-grade cleaning.
You'll find hand sanitizer stations all over the Metro.
No mask, no Metro. Need one? We have a few extras.
At Metro, we're doing our part to keep the D.C. area moving. Find out more at WMATA.com/doingourpart.
Episode 1750 of No BS Job Search Advice Radio. I'm your host, Jeff Altman, the Big Game Hunter, and welcome. I spend some time daily talking with you about some element of job hunting because, frankly, you folks need help. The skills needed to find a job are different than those needed to do a job. And I worked in search for more than 40 years, filled more than 1,200 full-time positions, plus consulting assignments. I know how job hunting works. I couldn't do your job, and you could learn mine, but there'd be a lot of trial and error in the process that I'm trying to shortcut with this show, my YouTube channel, which you can find at JobSearch.TV.com, and with one-on-one coaching. I've got thousands of videos on YouTube, but back to you and this show. Today, it's about avoiding being cut during layoffs, because times are good. Right? Times have been very, very good. But eventually there comes that time where you want to avoid being fired, reorged, outplaced, canned, or retrenched. Hope you find it helpful. Hope you give it a great review. And in the meantime, let's get going, okay?
You know, I was thinking that these good times since the recession in 2008, man, this is a long recovery, one of the longest I've lived through. I think it's also one of the longest ones that the U.S. has experienced since inception. And, you know, it's going to come to an end because they all do. I don't know when, but they all come to an end. Even if that isn't the immediate circumstances, there are winners and losers in the way of organizations, and thus winners and losers in the way of staff that are affected by the health of their organization. So I thought I would do a video today about how to avoid being fired, reorged, outplaced, canned, retrenched, whatever you want to call it. Taken out back and shot. You know, how do you avoid this? Now, understand there are no guarantees. If a firm is going out of business, if an industry is being decimated, you're going to be affected. It's like in New York, taxis are being replaced by Uber. And the result winds up being there's less opportunity for folks than there is now for cab drivers. Truck drivers are going to be replaced by autonomous vehicles. That's going to wipe out a lot of jobs. But the impact winds up being that folks need to be prepared. And where you can minimize the impact, where you're working in an organization where the things that you can do proactively to head this off, you should really do it. So let me just give you a few suggestions for things that you can do. Number one is notice what the politics is in your organization. Who has power? Who has authority? You know, the long and the short of it is every organization has politics. Like I worked for a firm some years ago where there were two people who really ran the operation. And unless you were beholden to them, that one owner, you know, came down and, you know, the owner listened to what these two people said, and it made no difference how successful you were. If you weren't on the good side of those two people, you had problems. And, you know, you have to notice how this works. You know, there's politics in every organization. There are people who are influencers. There are people who actually have power. And thus, if you rub against their grain, you're going to be affected. So if you're concerned, pay attention to the politics. Another thing is fit in. You know, there's a saying about tall poppies. And people who are tall poppies, well, there are people who come around with machetes to cut down the tall poppy. And in organizations, people who stand, in some organizations, there's some organizations that revel in having tall poppies around. But in some organizations, all they want are people who are going to fit in, who are going to be drones, who are not going to stand out from the pack. Now, for me personally, I couldn't do this. But for other folks, hey, you're trying to save your job. You're trying to remain employed. This is what you have to do. And not just simply one time. It has to be part of your persona. Excuse me. So try to fit in an organization. The third thing, and this is one where I know I excel, is the notion of self-promotion. For you as an employee of a firm, you can create a brand for yourself apart from the organization. So, for example, an employee who says, "Hi, my name is, I work for Facebook or Google," is branded with the name of Facebook and Google and people's impressions of those organizations. During good times, that's great. However, there are times where organizations are in less prominence and the impact on the individual can be detrimental. So you look to brand yourself personally apart from your organization, complementing it, not opposing it, but complementing it. So, for example, when I did recruiting, I worked for different firms. I worked through different firms. I was a contractor at these search firms. And I branded myself as the big game hunter, which was a play on the notion of being a headhunter. And I marketed myself. I promoted myself. Resumes I submitted on behalf of candidates had my name, Jeff Altman, the big game hunter, had the firm name. I was being respectful to the organization that was paying me, but I was branded as the big game hunter. And I didn't know it at the time, but once I transitioned into coaching, which I wasn't thinking of at that point, it was a benefit for me as well. Everything was about having me stand out in a certain way. And it's not just simply that term, the big game hunter, but it's all the content I've created, the thousands of videos, the podcasts I host, all the articles I've written, the books that I've written, all involve Jeff Altman, the big game hunter. You can do that too. You don't have to be as dramatic as me. You can write articles for LinkedIn and Medium and other platforms and start to stand out as a professional in your industry. Number one, so that your current organization respects you. And number two, so that recruiters notice you and they want to reach out to you with opportunities. Remember, the person who gets ahead isn't always the smartest or work the hardest, although those are great qualities to have. People get ahead by being alert to opportunities. Sometimes they're internal to the firm. More often than not, they're external. So I'll simply say that for you as a job hunter, those are three ways that you can get ahead. And if you decide that you'd want some coaching to help you thrive in your current organization or transition to a new one, connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. So that's today's show. I hope you found it helpful. And if you did, here are a few more ways to get more from me. First of all, there's my website, which is thebiggamehunter.us. I have more than 8,000 blog posts there that you can watch, listen to, or read that will help you find your next job. In addition, if you're interested in my coaching you, at the site, there's a button there that says schedule. Schedule time for a free discovery call. Schedule yourself in for coaching, interview preparation coaching, salary negotiation advice, how to have your questions answered, or coaching related to hiring more effectively, managing and leading, helping you be a better executive in your organization, and overall being a better employee of your firm. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn at linkedin.com/IN/the big game hunter. Mention that you watched or listened to my content. I like knowing I'm helping folks. Once we're connected, if you're interested in coaching
let me know. I think it's easier at the website, but if that's the way you want to do it, so be it. Lastly, join my group on Facebook called Career Angles. It's focused on helping you do better at work. Information there is shared daily, and I'm attempting to build a supportive group there. Ask to join. I'm not letting recruiters in, so I want to make it a safe place for everyone. I'll be back tomorrow with more, and in the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Be great!
We'll get back to your music shortly, but first, did you know that prescription prices are different at different pharmacies? You could literally drive across the street and get a different price. That's crazy. But with GoodRx, you can instantly compare prices at every pharmacy in your neighborhood and save up to 80%. You're probably thinking there's a catch, right? Nope. It's 100% free and can save you money whether you have insurance or not. In fact, it can often beat your copay. Download the GoodRx app today and start saving. GoodRx is not insurance.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
This Thanksgiving, think outside the oven and get Thanks Grilling with Ace. Get a new grill and choose from top brands like Traeger, Weber, and Big Green Egg to add even more flavor to your Thanksgiving turkey, side dishes, and desserts. Plus, right now, get free assembly and delivery on all grills and accessories $3.99 and up. For the best help on the best grills, stop by your local Ace and get Thanks Grilling. Ace Rewards members only through December 24th. See participating stores for scheduling or exclusions.